All right, Potts. Yo, Andy Potts. What up, buddy? Doddle.
Hey, man.
Take off that hood. Fix that hair. Rock and roll.
Yeah, I gotta clean it up,
Yeah.
We gotta clean it up for everybody. We have a full slate of stuff to go over today.
You do.
I know
people are just joining, so give them a couple seconds, but go for it. My bad.
Yeah, no. So as people join in, we do have a full slate of stuff to go over today. We're going to talk about everything starting from when should you put in your training, your schedule? When should you start expecting things? When are we going to place our team order? What are the camps that are coming up for the year? Lots to discuss. 2022 is going to be awesome. We have a lot on the plans for everybody, just in terms of creating a good community and getting out there and racing. Races are happening. It's no longer in doubt. We have the formula out there so people know what to expect on race day. And international travel is starting to open up too. So we'll get you guys ready.
Exactly. I know people are having trouble signing on. We can thank Brian Abraham for that, our Chief Op Technology Officer. He made us do a webinar, and Andy and I aren't good at webinars, so here we are. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, Brian, I heard you. I said it. Deal with it. I'm going to get crap for that, but it's okay. So, guys, we got a lot to go into, a lot to go over today. A lot of logistics, housekeeping, things we're still figuring out. In terms of as we go today, and then I talk about a lot of things. At any time, hop up into the chat and ask any questions you need, and we will address everything. Today, we're going to jump around a bit, but we're just going to answer a lot of questions too, because I know there are a lot. All right, let me preface and go back for a second. This is a super hard time of year for us because some people are still racing, still training. Other people are took their break already and itching to get started. And some people are like, yo, I need 5 minutes. Leave us alone. So there's a lot of moving parts right now. So we appreciate your patience. And if you need something, just ask. You know how to get in touch with Andy. You know how to get in touch with me. You know how to get in touch with the rest of our staff that we will probably tell you a little about today too, because we're expanding, which is super awesome and fun. Yeah. So hop in the chat if you have questions. Otherwise, you can email us anytime you want. Sound good? Cool. All right, Mr. Potts. We got a lot of things we got to go over today.
Yep.
But before we do that, let's just dive right into one thing I want to address. Off-season training. What does that mean to you? What should it mean to our athletes? And what should their focus be during that time?
Right. So the biggest thing that I wait for in terms of the off-season is, I try to keep moving. I try to have instead of a general goal, I'll just kind of let my goals go to the wayside, and I won't get super granular or specific with things. I just kind of stay active and get out there and move. As soon as my mind starts making itself up in terms of this is what I want to do. These are the cool things I want to do. This is how I think I can improve. I start to formulate new goals. And then as that process grows along, the goals become more finite, and then a plan is in place, and then the freight train's already rolling. So I keep it moving.
You kind of let things fall into place, and then you turn a switch. And when you turn a switch, it's completely turned. But if you did that early on, you might have problems, right?
If I decided that I have done this in the past, I've had years where it's usually not consecutive years, but I'll make a mistake early and I'll just start being in rip-roaring shape come Christmas, and I got nowhere to spend it.
Yeah.
Right. I got all this currency going. I've got fitness. I've got all these goals, and I'm ready to rock and roll. But racing didn't at that point in the cycle of multi-sport racing really didn't kick off until April. It never really became in terms of professionally, maybe the past 5, 6 years, the calendar kind of expanded. Maybe since 2016, 2015, the calendar started getting more complete.
Yeah.
But there's a cycle, there's a flow to it, and you want to time it correctly, because I do believe that your fitness can have an expiration date because of the focus required and the narrowness required to excel. Is hard to sustain 365 days a year. So
The other thing about that is not everyone's cycle needs to be the same, because it depends on where you live, your life schedule. Like we have a lot of athletes that are teachers. They have off in the summer. So their heavier block comes then. So their cycle might even start a little later so they can race in August and September before school starts again. Or if you have kids going back to school, stuff like that. Like you have to plan it that way.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people who do shift work as
Yeah.
well. If you're doing shift work, sometimes it'll be like 3 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 4 days off, or it's so you have to plan for it and go with the flow in regards to that.
And then here's something for you, Andy. A lot of athletes or people that don't have as much experience as maybe you do, right? One, they get nervous. Oh, I'm not doing what I got to do, right? I'm not doing what I got to do. But the other thing is they might not have the experience to understand what they should be doing. And then they don't get the consistency. So one, what's the most important thing to do for you? Is it the consistency? And how could you give them a little more direction in terms of like, oh, what you should be doing?
Okay, so I really like consistency. I think it breeds a lot of success when you're looking for a schedule, when you're looking for a pattern, and that within that pattern, it can be molded and shaped as the requirements of your life ebb and flow. So I start to carve out a little bit more and more time as a race becomes closer or the preparation is required is more. But I always like to have some parts carved out, and I think we can thrive. I mean, we are on a what do they call it? Like the solar cycle is 24 hours a day, and then we are on some sort of lunar calendar, right? Is it solar and lunar? Yeah,
sounds good. I work on the Mayan calendar myself, but you do you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so because of those rhythms that we have no say in, we as humans thrive off of a schedule. So with that schedule, you can be an accordion with it, but I really like a schedule for a lot.
So I'll give you an example. This time of year, right? Like I'll always say, like, all right, I'm gonna carve out from 6 to 8 in the morning or 6 to 8 in the afternoon, 12 to 1 that I'm going to do something. And it might not change every day. It's like, I'm gonna run this day. I'm gonna bike this day. Andy, I like to see your face. What are you doing? Like picking your nose or something?
No, I'm going to move locations. So I'm not dominating the entire upstairs.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So I'm going to go to a corner. I'm going to go to my corner.
Because you're considerate of other people. Amazing. All right. So carve out a time, right? The same time every day. It makes it easier. And maybe you say like this day I'm doing this day I'm doing that. And let's say you want to focus on swimming. Well, then you would swim more. That's the same thing with our off-season plan, which we'll get into, that gives you that flexibility. So we'll talk about it. Sound good, Mr. Potts?
Sounds great.
While you're moving and getting ready, let's talk a little logistics. We had a lot of logistics questions. Sound good?
Yep.
Cool. All right. People are asking about the team page password. Give us about a week because we have to get everyone who signed up for this year in process and everyone who did not sign up out of all of our systems. It takes some time to go through one by one. So give us some time. Truth be told, there's nothing new on there right now that isn't in the Google Drive or the Facebook page for sponsored discounts or promotions. Again, this is a really weird time for that because a lot of our sponsors are cutting off things because of Black Friday and everything else. And we're getting new partners, which will get announced in the next month or so. Super exciting. Again, all of you, us, we really benefit from having Andy with us because we get to use his partners. And unlike other teams that could go and partner with whoever they want and do whatever they want, and their deals aren't always as good, we get a lot of benefit from Andy's partners. The negative is we have to set up Andy's partners. And setting up Andy's partners usually takes longer than just setting up a team partnership. So just if you need something, just ask. I'm sure we can get it for you. If there's something you don't see, I'm sure we could figure it out, but give us a little patience too. But everything that's up on the Facebook page, Google Drive is ready to go. Cool, easy peasy. On that note, team gear order. I know this is the most exciting time of the year. We're working it all out. It is going to be all set. This is what I can guarantee you. Our order will be placed before December 13th. That date's fairly irrelevant because we're guaranteeing you that the stuff will be, I can't believe I guaranteed, but I'm kind of guaranteeing the stuff will be here before March 14th because that is the day of our first camp. And we usually time our first order by that date. So everything comes at the same time. The other thing is we're going to be carrying a lot of extra inventory this year so that you can buy stuff as the year goes on. And then we'll do a second team order if there's enough demand for it. Who and what? Surprise. You'll see in a couple of weeks.
We also have a new look coming your way,
Yep.
which it will still have it's just evolving. Things evolve and the look will evolve with us, and we're going to be a sharp crew out there. I guarantee it.
Exactly. The other thing that's really exciting is we're going to do for all of you guys in the next couple of weeks, a wetsuit order. And you'll get the wetsuits right away. As you know, Andy and I, and Brian and Katie started the US arm of Hoop. And Andy and I have been working for a long time on wetsuits, goggles, and a bunch of stuff. Well, we're going to do first of all, Andy's going to do a walkthrough of all the products that we currently have, video walkthrough that we'll send out to you guys so you could ask questions or you guys could get the inside scoop. And then we're going to do a one-time promotion. And it'll only be this 1 week and it'll be the most insane deal I think we'll ever give. And then after that, we'll go to a more standard promotion unless we're launching a new product or something new that you guys might want. Sound good? Cool. What do you think, Andy? Is that a good idea?
Yeah. So I
didn't
do
tell him
think
about that.
the one thing when we look at timing for everything with the wetsuits, we will have some of it early and some of it. I would look at that same date of Chula Vista for really being the timing for when you can expect our gear order, the wetsuits, and then a general congregation point when we all meet up in Chula. And those days, if you haven't seen them yet, are March 14th through the 19th.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get into a little bit more on Chula just in a little bit.
All right, let me correct you for a second there, Mr. Potts. Okay. Everyone listen, I'm correcting Andy on this. If we do this sale for the wetsuits in the next week or so, 2 weeks, call it 2 weeks or so, you'll get your gear right away. This is not for all the new stuff. This is for the stuff we have now.
Okay.
Okay.
Look at Daniel throwing out guarantees and coming in early. I like it.
Dude, I got watches. Bye. Come on, Potts. Ty had a question. Will we have a sleeveless wetsuit? Do it, Andy. Come on, do it.
So Ty, we will not have a sleeveless wetsuit. Stop your nonsense. Get in a full sleeve and ankles to wrist wetsuit. If you want to swim fast, that is what you will be in. Quit telling me you want sleeveless stuff. I do know that there is some freedom that comes with it, but when you make the wetsuit the right way, it actually should promote a better swim stroke, and you will swim faster with it, and it will be comfortable.
Yeah, you'll have full range. If the wetsuit's made right, you'll have full range of motion.
It's not compromised when it's made properly.
Say it again, Andy. Stop
your nonsense. Knock it off. Wrists to ankles. You will be in it because made correctly.
Thanks, Dad. Appreciate that. All right. So in terms of timing, we talked about timing for gear. We're good. Chula camp. Let's just dive right into that. March 14th. It looks like demand is super high. I'm going to put Andy in a spot. We might add a second week there, but we're going to see what happens on demand. Chula Camp will open up at the end of this call. There will be a link on our website and an email will go out. You'll be good to go. It's only open right now for AP Racing team members. It'll be open for 1 week. Priority pricing, priority registration. After that, the price goes up and it's open to the public, and good luck.
Yeah, so that was also, we looked at options for the team, trying to do something a little bit better for you guys. So there will be camps that open up before they open up to the public to you guys as well. And as soon as they open to the public, we actually will raise the price of the camp.
Yeah, and that I was going to say too, the link on the website won't actually be on the website. I'm going to send you guys the link. And if anyone knows our links, they're actually live right now. I just made them live, so rush to your computer. But I'll send out the link to everyone in a few minutes. If someone who's not on the team registers, just know their registration gets kicked back if they somehow get the link, unless they're a friend of yours. If you have a friend and you want them to come with you, you just let us know. We'll work it out. I'm gonna charge you more
with camp. Can I go one quick hitter on the Chula?
Yeah.
As the borders start to open across the globe, we might have some internationals. We've had international athletes come in the past. We've had athletes come from Europe, Asia. We've had athletes from Taiwan. So when people come in from different areas, especially post-pandemic, we know that people bring things with them. Will you need to be vaccinated for Chula? The answer is yes. Because it is a United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee facility, they do require and have a mandate that everyone be vaccinated. There will be some sort of proof required before you are allowed on site. So if you have not been vaccinated, but you find that there are things in your life that require vaccination, and for some reason you just haven't done it yet, but you really want to do camp, I would suggest you go get vaccinated so you can do camp.
The only reason.
This is the only reason, right?
Yeah.
There are some things in life that maybe you don't agree with or don't want to do, but it's kind of one of those get along to go along type of things. And that's where we are with this. We don't make the rules, but we do want to see everybody there who can make it.
Yep, exactly. So while we're on the camp topics, people are asking about other camps and when they're going to be, right? So we're working right now on a camp in St. George for the week before the race there, and it'll be primarily an elite camp or a camp where it's more or less we're going to have training for you. We're going to figure out really low cost, less instruction, because Andy's going to be racing. And so myself and the other coaches will be hosting you guys. It'll be really fun. And in our summer camps, we'll probably have one in either Colorado or Park City. We're working out with both OTCs right now to see who's going to allow us in more than anything else. So that's just what we're waiting on. And it'll be in the summer, probably around the time of Ironman 70.3 Boulder, like when we normally do it. Someone was asking about Midwest camps. We're looking at one in Des Moines, actually, to partner with Diamond. So that'd be fantastic. And that'll be a summer thing for everyone that's racing Ironman Des Moines or Des Moines 70.3.
Yeah, that would be those races are in June.
Yeah.
The Des Moines race just got classified as the North American Championship. So you'll probably see more availability or slots for the Ironman World Championships there. The owner of Diamond is from Des Moines and has all the routes dialed. So if we are there, TJ Tullochson with Diamond will have a fleet of bikes for us to try and ride and demo. We are also working on having TJ bring bikes to camps, no matter if they're in Des Moines or not, for our team. So we'll have bike support there, which could add another dynamic element to camp in terms of not only a new experience, but also new knowledge. TJ's very smart, and hopefully he can make it to camp. And I've raced with him a long time. He was a professional athlete for 15, 17 years, something like that. and maybe even longer. He's super smart, and he would add a lot to camp.
Exactly. And Betsy, Beaver Creek's not up yet. We're not sure if we're doing Beaver Creek, Colorado Springs, or Park City. We're working on it right now. Like I said, we're trying to get into the Olympic training centers. If we can go there, that's where we'll go first. And we're just waiting to figure it out. Okay. Yeah, Ryan, you are on mute. Everyone's on mute except for Andy and myself. We will send the recording out though. You're good to go. All right. So, Andy, how do you feel about like in off season, people losing fitness or like and balancing and like mental versus physical?
So there's certain things that you want to stay on top of in the off season. When I was really young, I would actually gain weight, not on purpose, but I didn't fight it for sure.
Cupcake season.
And oh yeah, that was true. That was the thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I never fought it, but as I get older, I find that window is, or that leeway is a little bit more narrow. I like to stay a little bit closer to my racing weight, and fluctuate a little less. I think my body just can't handle the roller coaster with fluctuating weight. So I try to still keep good eating habits. Plus, good eating habits are just smart to begin with. And then, so that's one thing I try to pay attention to in the off season. And then, other than that, I actually really like using the off season, and I'll pick one discipline or one area to improve in, and try to do like a mini concentration or a mini block. Not totally ignoring everything else, but I will go into like a strength training aspect. Sometimes when you look at, there's a lot of literature on periodization and when to time fitness, and what to do in the early season. And Daniel and I have experimented a lot with this. We'll go like, okay, like 1 year we'll go, okay, we're going to do power and strength and speed preseason. And then we'll maintain that strength and power and speed and carry it into endurance. Other times we've reversed it and said, hey, what do you want to do this month? And we'll look at it and be like, okay, well, let's really push the endurance envelope. I know the conditions aren't optimal. And then we're going to add in strength and speed and power, but we'll have the fitness to back it up. There's no real right or wrong way to slice it.
The other thing about that too, Andy, sorry to interrupt, is you can do different sports could have a different focus. So
Yes.
You could be working on endurance in one sport and power in another. Like,
Exactly.
Always fun.
I think that's where we married the two philosophies. Instead of saying like, oh, you're going to be in this camp or that camp. We said, okay, what if we did strength training for low reps, high weight? We added that with some longer rides. We're going to do some longer swims for endurance, but we're going to shorten up our runs with track speed work.
Exactly.
And then they all start to like, they start to marry each other. So I will actually take a block and I'll check a box with, okay, I know that it'll be an endurance ride and a speed run, but I really want to work on my strength and I really want to work on my endurance bike or whatever it is. And then those are the focus, but we still check the boxes with the other things. I think it's important to maybe move away from your strength, try to eliminate some of your weaknesses in the off season. I remember 1 year, I want to say it was like, maybe it's 2012 or 11, 12 or 13. I can't remember. And I was an okay cyclist at that time, but it wasn't a strength of mine. And I wanted to really work on my cycling. So when I got into races, people were more and more concerned that I didn't get dropped off the back. They're like, oh, I'm still around. And then I would say either to myself, all right, maybe I'd say it out loud, but nobody could hear it. It was, uh-oh, somebody learned how to ride a bicycle, things like that. And it gave me a sense of confidence, but it needed a focus in the off season to drive that confidence. And that's kind of the mentality. So I think we need to look at each and every person, look at your strengths and your weaknesses, Keep a strength, because it is a strength and a source of confidence when you go and race. But also eliminating a weakness can make it so your strength shines even more.
Yeah. And it depends where you are. Like when I lived in California, I made the winter my cycling season. And that's where I built up all my endurance and my strength. In Colorado, it was like swimming focused and weight room focused. It just depends. You have to do what works for you. And like, so for anyone that's new, that kind of gets into timing of our off season and our off season plans for the plan athlete. So this is for people that are on the annual plans, right? We typically start the first or second week in December. We'll start December 13th this year. Just felt like the right time with Arizona and other races going on. And what will happen is you will have 4 to 6 weeks of, maybe a little more, probably 8 weeks of workouts in your training peaks. We're actually taking over your training peaks this year. You just got an email about that. We'd love for you to share access to it so we can review your stuff before you build your plans. So do that if you want. If not, let us know and we'll just send you a plan. But what happens is you'll have about 3 workouts a day, every day of the week, 6 days a week. For Sam, Mr. Consistent Messaging guy, some of them will be programmed in training peaks. So you can just be what is the word? I don't know. You'd be like a little robot and just plug it in and go. I love that you asked me that question every time we meet, Sam, by the way, about training plans and getting them programmed in training peaks. It'll happen. They'll be structured. All of our workouts are structured, but these you'll be able to just download. But okay, off topic. 3 workouts a day, every day of the week. What your goal will be is if you want to work on your cycling, you want to get that number up to 4 to 5 days a week. Everything else, 2 to 3. And what you do is you plan your week that way. Why do we do this? We've talked about it before. From December until about January 1st, families, people are everywhere. They're traveling, their holidays, their business things, tons of things. So when we wrote people plans, they never followed them. And it was a problem. So what we do is we give you 3 workouts, some parameters, and you pick and choose your own adventure. If you need help figuring this out, you let us know and we will help you with it. Absolutely. Otherwise, we found it's the best flexibility around. Make sense? Hope so. Okay, so that's when the training plans will be released. If you're a Podsheads Plus member, and again, you're going to get an email. You're going to get assigned a coach in the next 2 weeks. So November 15th by about. And then you and your coach will meet in the next, like a week or 2 following that. And you'll start as soon as you guys are ready. So I know some people will rip roaring or go. Some people want to wait a little longer. So you'll be assigned a coach and you guys will start then. One-on-one athletes, keep working with your coach and let's get rocking. Sound good? Cool. Andy, sound good to you?
Sounds great. I do have a comment on that. With your schedule and your racing, if you know your schedule, you know your plans for 2022, you have an email that you got to fill out your training schedule and your life schedule, rather, the sooner we get it. It is a first come, first serve. So you get slotted and then we methodically work through the program. The earlier you get it to us, the sooner you get it back. If you don't know your schedule, that's fine. But just know that there's a little bit of a delay. The longer you wait to deliver the things that we need to compose the proper schedule for you in terms of your demands on your life, your time, your energy, your schedule, all these things, it is hard to compile into one list. But as we work through it, it is a first come, first serve. So the sooner you can get it to us, the better off you will be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, don't panic if you don't have 2022 all set in stone yet. We will get it done, just a little bit later.
And you'll have training up until when you need it. 2 things on that too, Andy. First thing, if you really think your schedule is going to kind of be in flux all year, you're not sure, or you just need a little more attention. This is why we created that Podsheads Plus program, to give you that flexibility, give you a little more attention, give a little more help. So if that's something that's going on, consider it. It's worked great for a lot of people so far. It's actually becoming our most popular program, which is fantastic. Betsy, what do you mean? Is that new for Potheads Plus or existing? It's for all Potheads Plus, I think, is the answer to your question. And then the other thing on those plans was what you guys got to remember. This isn't cookie cutter, take it off the shelf and give it to you. Our process, right? Every year, Andy, myself, and the rest of our coaches, we sit down and we review the plans we created the year before. And we look at what worked, what didn't work, what we're doing different in our training. And we build new, I'll call them like methodologies or kind of like rough skeletons of what we think a year should look like. Then when we get all your information, one of our coaches sits down and spends hours going through it. That's why you might get an email from us or a phone call saying, hey, we got a few more questions or whatever. And we take time to build it out. So yeah, no cookie cutters here. So that's what we got on that. That makes sense. Posh, you got anything? Because I'm going to start going through some questions here. Oh, wait, I got one here from Holly. Sorry.
Yep.
All right.
The Facebook.
Yeah. A lot of people ask this question. You don't need Facebook, but honestly, it's our number one method of communication, or interaction is a better way to put it. We don't have a team forum and another medium. So it really is the best way. You could do what some folks do is they just create an account that they only use for the team side of things. They don't go on otherwise. And you could do it that way. Otherwise, just really stay diligent on emails and everything else, and you'll get all our updates. It's just, there's a lot of little things that happen on the Facebook group that's pretty nice, but anything major, we will share. But it's nice to interact with people.
Yeah. There's two things with the Facebook. I know that sometimes it can be like a black hole and it can suck you in. If it is a dedicated line for us in terms of the team, I think it can add value. When the little things that we do, whether that's checking in pre-race, post-race, sometimes we'll do some quick hitters, some coaches' corners, some announcements or video interaction. I think it's really useful for that. We've actually looked into another type of interface, but it's like that would work. Our core competencies are in coaching and helping people. They're not in building website interfaces. So we tried to let the good things of Facebook stand and try to use it to our advantage. And that's why we've stuck with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just easier for quick hitters. Yeah. Okay. Logistics. Sorry. All right. Some logistics stuff. All
right.
What will be team races next year? All right. So this is something we're doing different. Typically, we pick the team races at the beginning of the year, so people could sign up for them, and we try and do it that way. Hasn't worked. Great. So what we're going to do is we're going to take everyone's schedule when we get it and figure out where we have the most concentration in people, and then pick our team races that way. We're going to be able to have more team races this year because we'll have our regional team leads and they'll be able to help, and our crew athletes who will be able to help and organize at more races as well. Some things will be big, some will be small, but we will have a bunch more this year. Which leads to another question, which was, will a team roster be released? Potentially. It's an interesting thing to do because some people have privacy that they like to keep, and so we have to be respectful of that. What we are going to do though is all our regional team leads will have everyone in their areas information, and we're going to connect people that way, and based on their races we'll connect people as well. So yes, there'll be more visibility to different people in your region and be able to organize stuff. Whether we release a roster or not, we're still trying to figure that out. I'm not sure. Again, some people are way more private than others, and I respect it. Let's see. Is there a chance to do one-on-one coaching in person besides the camps? I heard Andy likes when people come and hang out with him on the daily. If you want, like, you're more than welcome to do that. What do you think, Potts?
It's my favorite thing ever.
Favorite thing ever. All right. So I'll say the answer is yes and no. It really depends on where you are, what you need, and what's going, and like our coach's timing. Like I can tell you, for example, in Colorado Springs, I ride with a lot of our athletes all the time and run with them too. I mean, it happens all the time because that's where we live there. Gustavo's gotten together with some guys up in the Bay Area. I think Steve doesn't like to hang out with anyone. I don't even know where Steve lives anymore. I think he's in Austin now, but I'm sure he'll hang out with people in Austin if you want to go really slow. Because that's what Steve does. Yeah, but yes, there are opportunities. You just have to ask. Absolutely. We also do some virtual stuff if you want as well. Cool. The other thing on that, and this goes back to our camps. Andy said it really well the other day. Our camps are where you guys come to us. This year, we're also doing clinics where we come to you. We're working on our clinic schedule right now. And in our clinic schedule, we're going to be coming to most of your cities or some of your cities. So you get to train with us there. So be on the lookout as we figure that out.
If you are really fast and you want to hang out with me in Colorado Springs, the caveat is you have to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how fast I want to go. And it's a small group of people, usually named Daniel Brienza, who play along with that silly game.
We've been doing it for years. So,
yeah, no, but we do have a pro swim group now in Colorado Springs that I coach on Saturdays, and
yeah, there. So someone did ask, where do we swim in the springs?
Oh, yes.
So we swim with the pro group, but we swim at PPA, Pikes Peak Athletics. The other places we swim, you guys can't get in, but we typically swim at PPA now. That's the majority of our swimming is there. And we don't always swim together. Like Ben swims with Andy too in the pro group, and then with the Masters team. Masters team's pretty good group of people for some really good swimmers. And then Robert swims there with the pro group and then on his own. And so does Brian and a few others as well. I believe AJ in Colorado Springs is at Lifetime mostly. And they have a decent group there as well. All right. Okay. Oh, here, let's go back to this. Double question for you, Andy. One's for you, one's for me. They said 5, but I'm going to go top 3 to 5 strength training exercises.
Oh, yeah. I saw this one.
Yeah.
Here we go. Number 1 is the deadlift. I love deadlifts. Number 2 is the front squat. Front squat, the difference between a back squat and a front squat. Front squat goes, the barbell goes across your chest in the front. Back squat, it goes behind your neck. So I actually like the front squat better than the back squat. So you got deadlift, front squat. I love pull-ups. Pull-ups are fantastic. You can change them up in a couple different ways. There's lots of different ways to do a pull-up. If you cannot do a pull-up, but you want to get the strength associated with it, you can start with negatives where you start up at top and then you just slowly go down. Or you can do assisted and then you can bring it up from there with a band. Anyway,
wait, next. Show us again. How do you do that pull-up?
So you can do a negative where you start chin over here. I know you're going with that.
Yeah, okay.
This is chin.
Yeah.
This is
okay. Okay, go. Next one. Sorry.
Oh, the ball busting never stops. All right. So then the number 4 on the list is dips. I like dips. You have to make sure you're not going to compromise your shoulder complex or capsule. So you have to put your shoulder in the right position. If you have rings, I would suggest rings for dips rings actually.
Yeah.
So you got 2 legs. You got deads, front squats,
pull-ups,
dips, pull-ups, and lastly, I like I really like the TRX lunge or single leg squat, which however they want to classify it. It's a lunge, but it's single leg weighted, and the rear leg is suspended with the TRX. Those are my 5.
Yeah.
Go to.
Andy, does your weight change a lot with front squats versus back squats?
Yeah, it does. So I hear a lot of people can do a lot of weight with a back squat, but as soon as you put it into their front, uh, the way that they have to move through space is it gets compromised with a front squat if you don't have perfect technique. Um, and a back squat should still be targeting the glutes and the quads. It shouldn't be you do tax the low back, but it's not a good morning where you bend and then squat, right? So you want to make sure you're still vertical. So front squat, I'm going to say all right. So the usual breakdown is like a 5-4-3. So it's like, if you can bench, if you keep the numbers easy and round, if you can deadlift 500, you should be able to squat 400 and bench 300.
Okay.
It'll be segmented down from there. Obviously, I cannot dead 500 pounds, but so if I'm deading, say it's 400 pounds, I'm usually squatting in like the 275 range back squat. So I can 275 back squat, but front squat is like 180. It's a big difference, and I'm not any less strong. It's just the position that your body is in. It's really promotes a lot of functional strength that can help you with your running and your cycling and even your swimming.
Yep. So on that note, people asked us, do we need equipment for our strength training plans? And so the short answer is
get a tonal.
What? Yeah, tonal. Buy a tonal. Everyone buy a tonal. We got a code if you like one. Yes and no. So all of our strength training has alternative exercises you can use, and body weight exercise and things like that. But everyone also offers equipment that you can use too. In everyone's off-season plans, we're actually going to put some strength training exercises in there. They'll be mostly, I'd say, movement based. I know, Andy, your eyes get scared for that. They'll be mostly movement based and body weight based, because we don't know where any of you guys are at. Strength training is really specific. It's why we promote it mostly with our one-on-one athletes. All of our one-on-one athletes get strength training going forward. Everyone else, it's a pay-to-play model, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort on our part to make sure you guys are doing the right things. But we are going to give you a preview, and it'll be mostly body weight stuff in the off season for a couple of weeks for you guys to get a little feel of some things we're doing. It'll be more endurance and movement based instead of strength based or power based.
It'll always be strength based, right?
Power, yeah.
But of my 5 favorite exercises, 3 are specifically body weight: dips, pull-ups, and lunges. You can add weight to all 3, obviously. The weighted ones, you can actually do the movement with a PVC, just with a pipe or something really light in front of you, so you make sure that your body is in the right position. Ultimately, it's really like you can do so much powerful work with just your body weight. When you look at some of the strongest athletes in the world and you ask them what they do in the weight room, pound for pound, they'll look at me. I've had this conversation. They'll look at me. I don't go to the weight room, and I'm talking about gymnasts.
Yeah.
So you see gymnasts, they don't go and they don't rack out weights, and all they're doing is manipulating their body weight all the time, and they are crazy powerful. So you don't need weights to get crazy powerful.
Exactly.
Someone
just asked, where are all the 8 from last year? That was a great series. They're all on Andy's YouTube channel. And there's a playlist called 8 that you can get to. If you have a hard time with that, just send me a note and I'll make sure I send you the link. Cool. What else? We got some more questions here. Someone asked about how most of our events are on the West Coast or more West based. There's a few reasons for that. I'm a biggie guy myself, just saying, and we're both from the East Coast, Mr. Potts. So
East Coast.
Yeah, but here's the rationale and the reason, just so you get to understand. We try to do more stuff on the East Coast. We will as time goes on, but we have a higher concentration of athletes on the West Coast. Most of our coaches and Andy and I are on the West Coast, so it's easier. And the weather, it opens up like another 5-6 months out of the year that we can do stuff, because no offense to everyone in Florida, we don't want to go to Florida. Yeah, just don't. Although Clermont is pretty good for training. This pool's really nice.
I could see Claremont in our future.
Yeah, the last time I was in Claremont, though, I bunny hopped an alligator at like 20 or alligator at like 25, 30 miles an hour. So like, try not to go back.
Okay.
Yeah. What else? I don't know. Potts, you got anything?
Yeah, let me run through some of these questions here.
Well, I think we got them all.
Number of camps to be decided. I think the big thing with camps is the way we've kind of positioned camps is we want to set up this experience so you guys come to us and it's curated and it's straightforward and there's a lot of value and we take away the distractions of home. And we get this concentrated week of learning and bonding and physical stress that makes us all closer.
Yeah.
When we look at clinics, it's us coming to you. If you know you can, like we did get recruited to go to a couple places, which we will be going to. We will have a clinic schedule out there sooner rather than later. But when we look at the number of camps, I'm going to say it's going to be in the 2 to 4 range for 2022. We know one is on the blocks for sure with Chula. We need a dedicated, we need a yes and a no or a no from the Olympic Training Center here in Colorado Springs, the Olympic Training Center in Park City, and Tahoe had a major fire, 2 major fires. So I don't know if we're going to be going back to Tahoe because literally 3 of our bike rides were in the middle of those fires.
Yeah. They were pretty nice bike rides, though.
They were great bike rides. I just hope they're not compromised because of the fire. And
yeah. And then someone was asking, about people were asking about, again, team rosters and stuff and team races. Brian McEnany is going to be managing our team calendar this year. Big up, Brian. Adidas rocks. Let's do it. And so we're only good. What they always say, good information in, good information out. If you guys put your information in, we'll have a great calendar. If you don't, we won't. And that's just the way it's going to go. So just be on the lookout for calendar stuff as well, separate from the athlete training survey. And then a lot of people ask, well, what can I do before the official start of the off-season training? So the off-season. And I think the same holds true for what we were talking about earlier, which is start moving, start creating a routine for yourself and a pattern of activity. And if you can do that, then you can start to get into everything else from there. Potts, yeah, go for it.
All right. So we do have a few new additions to the staff and I wanted to,
No, yeah, but can I cut you off before you do it? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm being rude. I apologize. For everyone that hasn't heard us talk about it, we like to grow our staff, and our staff it takes time to become part of our staff because we really spend a lot of time training with athletes, training the coaches, getting to know them and really bringing them up so they can understand where our crazy heads are at, because they are crazy and we have a lot of crazy but good ideas, and it just takes time to get to learn us. The other thing that's really important is we always talk about coach by committee. For all one-on-one athletes, for anyone who's not a one-on-one athlete, you're assigned a coach. Like you might get assigned myself, for example, but I'm not the only one that looks at your training or works on it. So all of our coaches meet all the time because we all have different viewpoints and we come to it from a different angle, and we talk about each athlete before we move forward again. So building a really good coaching staff with people that are good at different things than Andy and I are good at, because him and I spend so much time together. We're not sure sometimes who said what. And so it's good to have different perspectives, different ways of looking at things. And so, yeah, we're excited. Our staff's growing. So Andy, please take it away.
All right. So if you're on here, you know that it's me and Daniel, right? We are coaches and we're on site when we host camps and clinics. Gosh, that would be poor form if we hosted a camp and I didn't show up.
Yeah.
I've thought about it, but haven't actually pulled the trigger on it. Just kidding. All right. So I want to introduce people that you may or may not be. You want to alternate here, Daniel?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we'll alternate people you may or may not be coached by, or you might hear from our staff. If you hear from these people, they want to help, and they're here to help you reach your goals. So our first coach we hired, Steve Campbell. Steve joined up in 2016 with us, and it's been awesome ever since. He's been to a bunch of camps. People know him. If you haven't met him, he is awesome.
Yeah.
Got a ton of spirit, lots of knowledge, and if he's willing to go the extra mile for everybody. So Steve's great.
Yeah, I think at our first camp, he went up and down Mount Lemon like 4 or 5 times, like
That's right.
helping all the athletes. And that's what sold us on Steve. Well, that, and we've taken him on some crazy adventures. Oh, Steve, you haven't run a bike in a year? Let's go Pikes and Evans in
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. Let's go do that. So Steve's great.
Okay.
Then we have Jackie Herring, or as I used to know her, Art. Jackie's one of the best female American pro triathletes. I've known her since her days on Timex. We used to race together on the Timex team. Jackie also, like, she's really big in the Midwest. If you're from the Midwest, she hosts a swim series and a snowshoe race series. She actually won, I think, the national snowshoe race this last year or the year before. She was national champion in snowshoe racing. Which is pretty cool. We're pumped to have her on board, which is fantastic.
Next, we have Holly Sortome. Holly and I actually swam together in New Jersey. Not on the same team, but our teams were really good friends. And we would train, have training, either training meets together or training practices. And we would travel and anything. So I've known Holly a long time. And she moved out to California. She is working with, she's like one of our swimming specialists, but expanding all the time. And a fun thing about Holly is she taught some Baywatch, the people on Baywatch, the movie.
Yeah, no. Dude,
Baywatch.
yeah, how are you introducing someone? Don't you know what's going on? Come on.
What?
I don't know. Keep
Well,
going.
I was clarifying the series versus the movie.
I think it was summer. That's how I'm envisioning this. It was summer. And maybe Hobie.
Anyway, so she taught some of the Baywatch people how to look competent in the water because they're going to be on film. But Holly's great, tons of knowledge, lots of experience, and she brings an added piece of just the eagerness to expand her horizons. And she's already expressed interest in getting into some of the para scene, para-triathlon scene. And so it's super exciting to get Holly on board.
Yeah. And then we got Gustavo, and Gustavo, another one of the homegrown coaches. He came to our first Chula camp. He was already actually part of our crew, our elite team, and impressed from day one. And Gustavo's actually right now working with Andy and I on building out curriculum for our coaches, like educational curriculum and programming. USAT and Ironman coaching is not cutting it for us these days. So we're building out our curriculum a bit, and it's just for our coaches, and super pumped. If you don't know Gustavo, he's one of the smartest guys I've ever met, and practical knowledge is off the charts. And the boy could ride a bike. Oh boy. And he could descend like a madman. I love riding a bike with that guy. It's a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance, do it. It's fantastic. It's like riding with a motorcycle, especially now.
Next, we got Scott Caduceus Loose. Scott introduced himself to us in 2016. Yeah. If you were in trouble with the law, Scott might be able to help you out or not.
Because he's a criminal and he knows how to get out of trouble. No.
So Scott's in law enforcement. Yeah. And he actually put together our whole Tahoe camp. Yeah. He was like, hey, you need to come out to Tahoe. And he was like, I'm going to scout all the rides, make sure we got a good swim venue, make sure he just did all the logistics, ins and outs. So he knows how to plan the camp, execute it, and he's on board. And he's been searching for his own person. I think all of our coaches have this innate sense within themselves, and it shines through in their attitude towards others, where they want to learn and improve personally, and then they want to share what they've learned in their path, and that helps explain Scott and his desire for and thirst for knowledge, but also desire to share it too. So.
Yeah, and he's doing a lot of our camp stuff for us right now. And then for other staff, we have Brian and Katie, who almost everyone knows. If you've been anywhere with AP Racing, they are always and everywhere with us. If you ever need gear, you talk to Katie, not me. That'd be great. And Brian is the be all end all. I think besides Andy and myself, no one spends more time with us than Brian. Brian's been with us almost every day, and you see it in his training and everything that he does. And we couldn't run AP Racing without him. And I know you guys love having him at camp and everything else too. So same with Katie. So thanks, guys.
And then we also have Brian Corzera. Brian's new on the staff. He was going to be, we're going to work really well hand in hand with Brian, helping him with the educational pieces of like how to share the knowledge that he has. And he's totally amped on the sport of triathlon and eager to share his knowledge. He's been to a bunch of camps, and he's always, I guess, thirsty for knowledge. He does take to heart the desire to do cool things with cool people, and just a real genuine heart as a whole. Wants to see the best come through for everybody, and he's willing to totally go the extra mile. So
the big thing with Brian, like that I talk about, and that Andy and I talked a lot about, is like when we first met Brian, we were sitting in a team meeting or whatever, and he was sitting there writing everything down. What is this guy writing? My gosh. And then he would come with questions and more questions. And like his ability or his desire to want to learn is what really stuck with Andy and myself. And we wanted to, it's infectious. We want other people to get it too. And I think he really has a great perspective for athletes coming from here and going to there that maybe we don't have. Not saying we didn't go from here to here, it's just a different path, and it's been a while. And so we really enjoyed that perspective, and just the thirst and what do we say, camp? Be a sponge so you can learn. Same thing with your training. And he was total sponge. And so we're excited to be able to help him grow his knowledge too. So,
we have two more coaches that we want to bring on. We are working on it hard, so can't announce it yet, but hopefully they will join our staff as well. But we're expanding, trying to offer more things to more people, whether you're first starting out or if you are trying to get to the top of the podium.
Yeah. Sam just asked, why am I wearing a Wadi shirt? We're actually still sponsored by Wadi, so I know you can't purchase State Revere anymore, but we can still support them. And it's great clothing. We don't forget where we came from, but we know where we're going. And you don't.
You will
when we do. All right. I don't have anything else on the logistics front, Andy. I'm looking through my list right now. You got any words of wisdom or anything for these guys out here? Or you guys have any other questions?
You can throw them up in the chat. If we're all set, if we don't see anything quickly on the chat, making sure I'm hitting all these notes that we had. I think we be on the lookout for your for an email, 1, to sign up to camp, which I think was in the chat box. 2, give us your information to get you in the queue. The sooner the better. And if you're ever wondering, do you need a little bit more of a magnifying glass on what you're doing, then maybe it's that now is the opportunity to go from, I have a plan, I don't know if I want one-on-one, let's go somewhere in between. We can do quarterly check-ins with you with the plus. So if you're in doubt at all, this is the time where you go listen to that. This is also the part where we talk to our athletes, like, you are an athlete. Your body is communicating with you. Your job is to listen. So if your mind is telling you, I'm curious, what would happen if XYZ? Your mind is telling you something. Maybe, just saying, maybe you should listen.
Yeah. And Tina, we'd love to do a PV weekend. Andy and I were just there and we ran the PV loop,
Yeah.
the towers loop like 2 weeks ago. It was
We
fantastic.
drove by your house, Tina.
Yeah, we went right by your house actually. We ran by it and then we got chased by a dog. So that wasn't fun. But that was the best part. Ready? We're getting chased by a dog up a hill, like stairs, and Andy's like he pretty much screams, "I just have to be faster than you. I just have to be faster than you." Thanks, bud.
That's the old adage, right? The old adage is you don't have to be faster than the dog. You just got to be faster than the other guy.
Yeah, but who was faster up the hill? Let's call a spade there.
I was having cramping.
That's what it was. It was a cramp. It was a cramp. Dude, you're at the bottom of the hill. I was at home drinking tea.
We all know you are a better sprinter.
Yeah, fair enough. It's all that extra power and weight.
All right. If you want more of this banter, if you want more of this hanging out, you get all of it and more, everything you could want at camp. So
exactly. And we're going to be doing these monthly going forward, guys. It'll be on the first of every month, standing meeting, standing invite too. We might open it up where you guys are on mute, but we could see everyone. Might be easier. And stay tuned. Ty, be on the lookout. Zwift group rides are coming. They are a nightmare logistically because our numbers aren't massive. So it's very difficult. Yeah.
But Zwift did change the way that they are shaking hands with clubs. Yeah. So we're going to try to use that as to our advantage and get a club right going.
Yeah. Again, Brian McEnany, he seems to be my answer for things these days. He's getting that squared away. Brian, we love you so much. So yeah, thank you, Brian. Be on the lookout.
Okay. And if AJ wanted to know about Oceanside 2022, AJ, reach out to Brian Abraham. I think he signed up for both Oceansides this past year. So he has some inside scoop there.
Yep. All right. That's what I got. Wait, there's something in the Q&A I didn't even see. Oh, when will new athletes be let into face group? Within the next hour, actually. I just have to go through one by one and I will do that. And Janice, if you're not being coached, you don't have to fill out the training survey. Yeah. Cool. Peace. Thanks, guys.